Miri. Miri is the newest character that has been added into the Vindictus character roster. She's very fun, amazing character. She is now my secondary main. Sorry Delia, but you have been replaced. And today, I'm gonna make this guide for y'all. Now, before we get into everything, I'm going to actually tell you some pros and cons of the character. So be ready. Miri's pros: she is top DPS right now at the moment. Later on there will be a nerf, but she will still be top DPS. She does a lot of damage, she is very overpowered, and she's very easy to learn, so there's not a big learning curve with her. Miri's cons: she's got a very big hitbox, meaning she does get hit by a lot more stuff than most characters. She has a stamina problem, a very big stamina problem. Her stamina runs out very fast, but if you can maintain it, shouldn't have any problems. Hail and Pale is your first smash, which is LR. It is one of 3 combo starters. It can go into the parry the third fastest, meaning it gives you enough plus frames to actually parry out of it. It can also go into Fiery Chainswing, which is LRR, and go right back into Tail and Pale with LR. The Awakening Stone that I recommend with this will be damage boost, because after you use up all of your flame breath, you will be using your smashes as a secondary form of attack. Ravaging Claw, your second smash, which is LLR. Now with this, it goes into parrying the 4th fastest, meaning it is pretty slow, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. Now, after Fiery Chainswing, you can use LR to go right back into Ravaging Claw. Hacking Spine Throw. Hacking Spine Throw is going to be kind of difficult for me to explain, but I'll explain it to the best of my abilities. Now, this is your third smash. It is LLLR. Now, after that, you can go into a quick little parry right after by pressing LL. Now, after you do LL, it goes straight back into Hacking Spine Throw by pressing R, by using R. So I'm hoping y'all understand that. LLR goes right back into Hacking Spine Throw. And the same thing with Fiery Chainswing. It can go right back into Hacking Spine Throw with another LR right after Fiery Chainswing, but it does go into the parry the slowest. The reason for that is because the first hit of the third stage of Fiery Chainswing, you are in that animation for a very long time and you cannot dodge out of the way fast enough. It all depends on your attack speed. The higher attack speed, the lesser the animation will hold you. The Awakening Stone that I recommend to get with this will be damage boost. Alright, this is going to be a difficult one to explain. Spiny Kick. Spiny Kick is going to be your 4th smash. The input is LLLR. And same as the last, after you go into Fiery Chainswing, this does go back into Hacking Spine Throw with LR. But LLR goes right into Ravaging Claw, so I'm hoping y'all understood that. I'll have the demonstration on the screen also, so I'm hoping y'all understood that. The Awakening Stone that I recommend for this will be damage boost. Fiery Chainswing. Fiery Chainswing can be used after any of your smashes as an enhanced smash. It depends on the stack of flame breath. It depends on how much flame breath you have that you can continuously use this move. It also grants you Wyvern Magic, and with the Wyvern Magic, it does allow you to actually also use your Spineslash, so you can actually get your counters. It all depends on how much times Fiery Chainswing actually hits. Now, the pros of this skill is that this is where most of your big damage is coming from. You have iframes in the first and second hit, but only mid animation. So if you miss that mid animation, you will most likely get hit if you're trying to attack a boss that is attacking you. It's mid animation, not in the beginning part, not in the end part. It is right in the middle of the animation. The cons of this skill is that the third hit of it is very slow. With that, you cannot cancel the animation fast enough. But with more attack speed, you do have a better chance, but at the same time, it's still very slow. Coiled Strike. Now, there are 2 ways on how to do this. This will be your normal RR. It's a 2 hits with your normal RR, and it can be used as a dash smash, which is dash R. Now, when it comes to this move, it is a quick hit with the second variation. The first variation, which is RR, is kind of a slower attack, so you have to be a little bit careful if you're gonna do the normal RR, but you won't be using the normal RR, you will be using the dash R. It can also be used as a dodge, a quick little dodge for certain hits. Let's take an example, Lu. When Lu is doing his spear attack, you can use the dash version of this move to dodge out of the way. It can also do damage to certain bosses too. Another example, when Lu is doing his blink spear, most of y'all should already know what I mean by the blink spear. When he does that, before he actually blinks in, you can quickly do the dash version of this move to do damage at the same time while he's zooming past you. Now you can use your parrying right after any of these moves for a quick little parry, depending on if you can quickly get the move out, but it all depends on what you want to do. I usually do it right. I usually do the dash variation just to do a quick little damage, and then quickly go into my first smash and then start my combo, and vice versa, and etc, and etc. Now the awakening stone that I recommend for this will be damage boost. Flame breath. Flame breath is your fiery chain swing source. It has 8 stages or stacks depending on what you want to call it. It takes about 8 seconds to recharge 1 stack. When all 8 stacks are used, it takes a longer time for the flame breath to actually recharge itself. But you can refill it back with either blazing spine or slice and dice, but only when slice and dice hit that you'll get flame breath back. The pros of this move: it allows for maximum damage from your enhanced smashes, which is your fiery chain swing. The cons of this is that it runs out very fast without you noticing, so you have to maintain that. Now when it comes to this skill, do not use all 8 stacks of your flame breath. I want you to use at least 7 and at least leave 1. When that 8th one is used, it takes a longer period for it to come back. So this is what most people do. They use all 7 stacks and then they give the last stack time to recharge everything. So do not use all 8 stages of your stacks. Don't do that. Don't do that, man. It recharges faster when you don't do that. Parrying attack. It allows you to block / counter. It also gives you a sub buff called Hydra. Hydra gives you stamina back depending on how many times you successfully counter. But the Hydra buff does disappear after using Hot Streak. So after you use Hot Streak, it disappears, so you gotta be careful with that. You're gonna want to at least try to keep Hydra and your spine slashes to actually do maximum damage with your counters. Now when it comes to this skill, the parrying does come out a lot faster when you are not just doing it in one direction. So what I recommend when it comes to this move, use it in combination with WSAD, meaning WS parry parry, WS parry parry. The same thing with AD parry parry, AD parry parry. I'm hoping you understood that. Just don't use it in one direction, because the thing about this move is that when you use it in one direction only, the parrying comes out a lot slower than you actually using other directions. That's how the game is. It's always been like that. So if you want to quickly get the parry to come out a lot faster, get the parrying to come out a lot faster so you can counter and block moves, you're gonna have to use the WSAD keys. Don't be one of those people who just use the parrying only in one direction. Once you do that, the parrying comes out a lot slower and you won't be able to block every single hit. You're gonna have to do it, man. Like, that's the only way you're gonna have to block. That's the only way you're gonna be able to block like multiple hits, and also using Hot Streak for your quick parry. Now when it comes to this skill, the pros of it is that it blocks everything but red moves, which is pretty much self-explanatory and you should just already know that already. It is one of the best counters in the game, honestly. It's not that great like Fiona's, because Fiona counter is of course the best counter in the game at the moment, but it is one of the best counters in the game. Now the cons of this is that sometimes when you parry, you will get hit. but it's very rare. It only happens mostly on lag and missed input. You gotta know that one frame of the parrying. You have to delay the parry at the same time, or else it's not gonna parry also. So you gotta be careful with it, man. I can't fully explain the timing for you, but honestly, before the move hits you, it's about too quick. It's about a second before you get the parry. If I really want to put the frame data, but like I already said I wasn't gonna put it, so that's the only con about this skill here. From 3 to 5 stack, it depends on if the move hits that you will get a lot of stamina back. Once all 5 stacks hit, you will most likely get all of your stamina back, depending on if the move hits. If the move hits, you'll gain a good chunk of stamina back. If the move misses, you'll only get a percentage of your stamina back. So you gotta worry about that. Now when it comes to this, a lot of people is going to complain, and most likely you will probably complain saying sometimes the move doesn't hit. Now when it comes to this skill, you have to literally aim it, you have to counter in the direction that the boss is either hitting you or you're facing. Where he's facing is where you have to counter. It won't always work front way or sideway. It almost never works when you're either facing left or right of the character's stature. So let me try to explain that right now once again, a little bit slower. Let's give an example. When it comes to Regina, when Regina attacks you, usually most of the time when she attacks you, she slides right past you. To be able to get the counter, you have to aim in the direction that she's sliding to. So like if you're facing her in front and she's facing you and she's about to attack you, and when she attacks you, of course she's gonna slide right past you. What you're gonna want to do is the direction that she is coming at you is how you're gonna want to use this move. Like when you get the counter, you're gonna have to aim in that direction to be able to get the counter every single time. It won't always work when you're actually just facing any enemy or any boss. It won't actually work all the time. So once you do that, the counter should be 100% for y'all. A lot of people usually miss it because they're either aiming at another direction and they're not really aiming at the direction that the boss is attacking you or where they're going. So like if you try to counter to the left of your character, sometimes it won't work. The counter in this game is very finicky when it comes to Miri. It's very finicky. Now the pros of this move is that it does very good damage, it crits, it's very good for breakoffs. The same thing with like how most characters, they have at least some type of move that is very good for breakoffs. The cons of this is that it misses a lot because it has a very tiny hitbox. Like I explained earlier, you have to be facing the direction of the boss or the direction of the boss's attack to be able to get the counter off every single time. It won't always work because the hitbox for the move is very tiny, like unbelievably tiny. So you got to be careful with that. I'm hoping my explanation kind of helped you out a little bit on how to actually be able to get the move off. Spine throw. Spine throw is going to be your dodge smash, which basically triggers from hot streak into smash, into R. So spacebar R. Now with this move, you can also use it as is going to be one of your combo starters. I mean, well, you have to. It is one of your combo starters, and it is also used for movement from getting from point A to point B. The thing about this game, if you're new to Vindictus, people, the thing about this game is that every character, no matter who they are, always have a movement method to get from point A to point B. Some of them do damage with it, some of them is just used for evasion. With this, it is used for either attacking or evasion. With this move, no matter what direction you aim, you can always aim, no matter where the move hits, you could also aim in any other direction. Now with this move, it goes right into fiery chainswing also, but stage 1 of fiery chainswing. And then after that, it's the same thing with all the fiery chainswing. Now with this move, you can quickly go into 2 hits of your normal, which is 2 hits of your parry. This goes into the parry the fastest right after. So if you want to quickly use it to go into a parry, you can do it also, but do know you have to wait until she grabs the weapon. And the sixth thing that I want to add in this is that you can delay this for a very long time. Like, you can delay it to like the last possible second. It does take a while to get back to you, but once it touches a certain point, it will just come back to Miri, and then she will be in that grabbing animation, and it's pretty long, but it shouldn't be a problem. Now, the pros of this move is that it does very good damage, it crits a lot, it triggers knockdown, it comes out very fast, and it's good for keep away chip damage. Most of y'all should already know what keep away chip damage is. The cons of this skill is that once you commit, there is no canceling, honestly. So let's take an example. If a boss is about to attack you and you use this move in the direction of the boss's attack, you cannot cancel the move in mid grab. So you gotta be careful when it comes to this skill. Alright, Hot Streak. Hot Streak is your dodge. It can be combined with your parry for a quick parry dodge cancel, or should I just say dodge parry cancel, whatever you want to call it. Now, this move here, once you use it, the Hydra buff will be depleted. It will disappear completely. So depending on the situation, you're either going to choose to either dodge or not dodge. Depends on what you want to do. The pros for this is that it has very good movement. It has amazing iframes in the first hop, but coming out of it, you do not have any iframes, so you got to be careful. The cons of this skill: continuous use without actually using your normals to cancel it is very slow, but that shouldn't really be a problem for you. Sometimes you can get hit out of it, so you gotta be very careful. If you miss the first frames in the first dodge of it, you are able to get hit by any boss's attack. So you have to be careful. You have to dodge at the right time, which I've said multiple times on every single guide is at the last possible second. Fiery Evasion. Fiery Evasion is going to be one of your backdash dashes. When it comes to this skill, depending on whatever you have it set up to, it is called the Guardian in settings. I don't know why they call it that in the settings, but that's just how they named it, so I'm not gonna rip on them about it. Now, it has one frame of invincibility. One frame of invincibility. If you miss that one frame of invincibility, the move becomes useless because you will get hit right out of it. It can also be used as a quick dodge movement, and combined with your movement also, it can be used as a quick movement also. But like, very important, if you miss that one frame of the dodge, you can be hit out of it. So the move is not always 100% safe, so you have to be careful with it. Now, the pros of this move is that it's a solid dodge if you get that one frame, and it can be used as a quick escape from danger. If you're about to get hit, if you're about to get hit with red move, just use that move and then bam, you're out of the range of that. But you gotta be careful with it, because honestly, it's the direction of Miri's back. Depending on what area Miri's back is faced, it will go in that direction. So let's take an example. Regina, when she does her AoE unblockable red move, if you're faced in front of her, if Miri's back is faced in her direction, you will literally dash or evade right into her red move. So you have to be very careful with this move. Depending on where Miri's back is that direction is where you're gonna go. So you have to be pretty careful with this move. Don't use it all willy-nilly. Don't miss that one frame. Now, the cons is that when it comes to this move, if you miss that one frame, the move becomes useless. You will get hit right out of it. So be very careful with the move. That is all I gotta say about the cons for this move. It's a very good move. It's just that one frame. If you miss that one frame. Fiery Assault. Fiery Assault is your dash attack follow-up after using Fiery Evasion. Once you use this, it takes one stack or stage of Flame Breath. It's a very good move, honestly, but there is some problems with it, but it's a very good move. It does a good chunk of damage, and you can do it continuously after doing another Fiery Evasion. Now, the pros of this move is that it does nice damage, very good damage. Sometimes it crits. You have one frame of invincibility, but it's only in the middle part of it, so it's kind of stupid, honestly. It depends on what you want to call it, but like going into it, man, I can't really explain it to my best ability. You're gonna have to test it out yourself if you don't believe me, but yeah, it has that 1 frame of invincibility. Now the cons of this skill is that if you miss just like the fiery evasion, if you miss that 1 input, you will get hit into it. You will get hit out of it. So you gotta be careful. The move is very hard to control, and sometimes it will hit an invisible wall. The worst part of it all is that it stops short. Like honestly, sometimes if you press it, it will just completely just hit nothing and just keep you in one place. It hits an invisible wall. It's just so annoying, man. It stops shorts and it hits an invisible wall. It's just, I don't know what is with the game, but like when it comes to Miri, they need to fine tune a couple of things for her to become 100% playable. You have to do something, devcast, like really. Now the awakening stone I recommend for this will be damage, because honestly that's all you really need for the majority of the skills. Okay, we are finally in the actives. The skill that I'm going to talk about right now is Scorching Streak. Scorching Streak is one of your dodge actives. It's the same thing like Miri's move. No, it's the same thing like Delia's dash active. Max rank of it is a cooldown of 10 seconds. There is really nothing much more about that right now. It is a combo starter. This is what you're going to use at the beginning of every run, every raid. Right at the beginning to quickly dash towards the boss or the mob, whichever, whatever. And just quickly go into fiery chainswing. So that's one of your combo starters if you didn't know. I probably have it demonstrated in the video, but like it is your go-to combo starter at the beginning of every run and any time when you can actually use the move. Now the pros of this skill. It's a very good dodge. It gets you a good amount of distance. It has very good recovery, a very fast recovery after the move. You can just quickly go into a parry or quickly go into, of course, like I explained earlier, fiery chainswing. Now the cons of this skill is that you're not invincible in it. You can get hit with the move. So like if a boss is attacking you and you use this move to go to the boss's direction, you can get hit out of it, so you gotta be careful with it. Okay, the next active is going to be Slice and Dice. Slice and Dice is a 2-hit stun move. If a boss is using his red move, use this move, knock him out of it. Now, the max rank for it is a cooldown of 5 minutes. It also gives you back 2 stacks of flame breath when used, but the moves, the 2 hits have to hit for you to be able to get them 2 stacks back. It's a good red move and AoE cancel for any mobs or bosses that are using red moves or AoEs. You can use it as a quick thing for canceling, and right out of the move you can use fiery chainswing right after. It goes into stage 1 of fiery chainswing. So it's a good move. It's a solid move, honestly. The pros of this skill is that it's a 95% stun, not a 100% stun. What I mean by that is that there are some times when the boss completely nullifies that. I don't know why. That's just how the game is. It does a lot of damage. It does very big damage when all 2 hits hit. And it's also very, very good for break-offs. Like at the last possible break, you can easily use this move to get a break-off, but like I said, it's very random if you'll actually get the break-off for it. The cons of this skill. The cons of this skill is that sometimes it misses. It does that. It's very hard to control. It's kind of a diagonal path. You can't curve it or anything. Cannot really fully control it. So you gotta be careful with it. It's weak against flying/hovering bosses. What I mean by that is that Regina flies, she hovers, whatever, she flies. And also another example is Pantheon. Those bosses fly/hover. When you use this skill, sometimes on them, the skill will go right through them. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Mostly it's based on your character's height, and like I said in the beginning when I did my version 1 guide, is that a lot of things depend on the height of your character. and a lot of us don't like to go for max height. If you had max height, you would be able to hit most flying and slash hovering bosses, but being max height has the most problems in the entire game. That's why most people, including myself, go with the shortest height. Shortest height gives the better benefits, but the only flaw of being shorter height with your character, the shortest height, is that sometimes when you're fighting bosses that fly or either hover, your moves will miss. Just sometimes, it doesn't happen that much, but it's just one thing to take into consideration when you're making your character. The last con is that this move is very broken on Lou. What I mean by that is that sometimes when you use this move on Lou, when he's doing a red move, he will do a counter move, which will just hit probably you or anybody in the party. So you have to be very careful. When it comes to Lou, the counter after using this move from him is very random, so you have to be careful with the move. Now, the Awakening Stone that I recommend for this will be damage boost or SP efficiency. This move requires around 500 SP. If you go with SP efficiency like me, you'll use a lot less SP, meaning you can actually use your other skills a lot more because you use less SP. Damage is if you really wanted to do more damage, of course. It's self-explanatory like that. Okay, next active skill is going to be Blazing Spine. Blazing Spine is a 2-hit close range move and a 3-hit mid-range move. What I mean by that is if you're too close to the boss, sometimes the move will go through him. It happens a lot. Don't know why, not gonna get into it. It's just that when you're too close, it goes through them. It's the same thing with how the transformation Spare, or should I say Spare of Stigma and Trail of Light does. Those two Spare moves, if you're too close, it will either go through the boss or just not do enough damage. This move, the reason I say most of the time use it from mid-range is because when you use it from mid-range, it hits the boss again, and then explodes in them. So it does 3 hits. And with that, it will give you 3 stacks of Flame Breath. But only from mid-range. It works sometimes from close range, but about like, let's just say 75% of the time, it will go right through them, just like the Spares. So you have to be very careful with this move. Like, just don't be too close. That's all I want to say, is just don't be too close when you're actually using this move. Get some distance so you can actually be able to get 3 hits of 3 stacks of Flame Breath. So yeah, this move animation can be cancelled with a dodge or hot streak. What I mean by that is that depending on how fast your attack speed is, you can quickly throw out this move and mid-animation cancel the move by dodging, and when you do that, the Flame Breath will come out at the same time. But it all depends on your attack speed of how you can just get it out. Now when it comes to this, wait for all of the moves to hit before you attack. This is the thing about this game a lot of people do right now on the North American server, is that they just throw out the move and they just quickly click their R and just quickly use Fiery Chainswing. Don't do that. When you do that, it cancels you getting any stack. It cancels you getting either 2 or even 1 stack and just gives you 1 stack only. So you have to be very careful with this move. Like, you gotta make sure all of the moves hit. Don't quickly just attack after you use the move, because you want more stacks so you can do more damage. So instead of just quickly throwing out the move and just quickly pressing your R, wait for all of the moves to hit. Good. The use of it all depends on your SP. All depends on your SP. It's a SP move. Once all of your other skills are on cooldown, this is the move you're going to be using the most, because you're going to try to use it to get your stamina back and also give you back your stat. Now after this, you can use, after the move is used, you can use Fiery Chainswing right after, but it goes into stage 3 of Fiery Chainswing. Alright, so when it comes to this skill, the pros of it is that it's good for stamina recovery when you need it. It's good for breakoffs. This is one of the go-to things that give you breakoffs, like it's crazy. And it gives back 2 to 3 stacks of Flame Breath. Very important. Now the cons of this skill is that it has very bad range. You have to be close mid-range to actually be able to hit the boss. Sometimes when you're too far away, it won't hit, and then basically you're just there wasting SP. There are also some times where when you use this move, it sometimes explodes in the boss's face but doesn't give you anything out of return, so you have to be pretty careful with the move. That's just the only thing I don't really like about this skill. The next thing that's bad about it is that it uses a lot of SP, and a lot of SP is needed to be used. So the Awakening Stone I recommend for this will be SP efficiency. So don't think just because you choose one that it won't give you something of another. Usually a damage Awakening Stone boost does also give you a higher knockdown rate. So they like the Awakening Stones does give you a double or a triple buff. So if you choose one, don't like think it won't give you another. So like, yeah, it depends on what the game gives. The next active skill that we're gonna talk about is Ancestral Garb. Ancestral Garb is your dragon transformation. Miri embodies her ancestors and gets her dragon armor. Now with this active skill, when it's active, you have stamina recovery, so you don't have to worry about stamina. Stamina comes back very fast without you actually noticing. All of your skills can be used without worrying about flame breath. So continuously using fiery chainswing, you can do that. Using your guardian, you can use that. Using your fiery evasion, because I know people are gonna get confused about that. Fiery attack, you can use that also. What else can you use? Basically all your skills that require your flame breath, you can use it. Doesn't matter, as long as you're in that transformation, you can use it. Now the pros of this skill is that you can attack constantly without worrying about the flame breath cap. So any attack, no matter what, that uses the flame breath, you can use it. When you're in this transformation, your damage doubles. I don't know why, I'm not gonna get into it, but it doubles. And the best part about it is that you're a badass dragon for like 1 minute and 10 seconds. 1 minute and 10 seconds of just being a cute, sexy dragon. That's hot. And the cons, there is none. This is a very overpowered skill because she got 2 transformations right after. So like, it's a very overpowered thing. There's no cons whatsoever. The only con that is I would add into it at the last possible second is that everything that we talked about applies when you're in this transformation, which is crazy. Now the Awakening Stone that I recommend for this is a major cooldown or SP efficiency. This uses a lot of SP to actually go into the move. It's about 1000 SP. You can use SP efficiency, but the way how runs go now, it's best to just get cooldown. Instead of it being 8 seconds, it will be 7 minutes something, or probably like 6 minutes something, depending on what you get. Okay, now we're on our final active skill. I didn't think we were gonna reach it this fast. 35 minutes. Well, 34 going into 35. But this is called Call of the Dragon. It is your ultra skill / lockdown / hold / vice versa. It holds for 10 seconds. It's a 10-second lockdown, so that's pretty amazing. Now, the cooldown for it is 20 minutes. Which is to be expected with every lockdown. You shouldn't use the lockdown like more than once each run. More than once each run. So like, yeah, it used to be like very cheap. I mean, like very small back in the days, like about like 5 minutes. But now they did it because a lot of people would just spam it one after another. So like, if you were here in the vanilla days, ooh, the game was so great, but the RNG was so terrible. So I'm glad you never had to deal with that. Now when it comes to this skill, I'm going to give you a quick little tip right now. Most people, well, most nowadays use a lockdown right after another, but I'm gonna give you 2 variations right now, and they only work with Karak because he's very overpowered, and that's why we love him. He's very overpowered and broken. Now when it comes to that, when a Karak, it only works with a Karak, if I remember correctly, it only works with a Karak. When a Karak does his whole, in that 1 frame of him doing his whole, yes, I'm back to frames again, pop your Call of the Dragon. Use your Call of the Dragon, and then while that Karak is doing his whole, you can do your whole for that double 10 seconds of double damage. It also works when he clashes, so when he clashes you can use Call of the Dragon, and when that happens you will be using your hold and he will be holding the boss. So like, yeah, it's a very good skill when you have a Karak in your party. Once a Karak does his clash, Delia can press her grab, because a lot of people forget that Delia has 2 versions of her hold, and the second version does more damage if a Karak is in the party, which a Karak is always in the party, but like once Delia uses her hold, when it comes to that, they have to delay it until the end of like Karak's clash. They use it, they lock down the boss, and then after that just call a dragon and then bam, that double damage, man. It's so beautiful once people actually do it. I've only ever been able to do it like 3 times, and that's because I timed it with like everybody's attacks, and like I timed it with the Karak's clash and I timed it with the Delia's hold, and it was so beautiful. It was, oh my god, dude, it was so beautiful because like it was still doing it one after the other, but it was like wasting no time with the hold. Like as soon as a Karak's clash was about to be finished, Miri just comes in with her second version of her hold, and then as soon as she's about to do the final attack, Call of the Dragon, and then oh my god, dude, that is so beautiful. That is very beautiful. So the pros. Now the pros of this skill is that it does a good amount of damage for a hold. It like dwindles the boss's health like a good chunk. Not as much as like how should I take an example? Like not as much as Karak or Fiona's hold, or even like Twin Sword Vela's hold, but it does a good amount of damage. Now the cons of this skill is that it has a very small AoE hitbox, so like in that small little circular area, if you miss that, if the boss is not in that, the move will be, you'll miss the move and then all that SP is gone. It only takes about a good chunk, like about like 250 SP or 300 SP, but like once you use it and you miss it, of course that 20-minute cooldown, and then that kind of kills a lot of people's vibes when it comes to that. Now the second thing is that this move can also be cancelled. It cancels a lot, I don't know why, but like on certain bosses, like Abomination, sometimes Lou, and oh my god, on Regina, it's not even funny anymore. It cancels, and then all of that, the same thing as the last, you used all that SP and you have to wait the 20-minute cooldown. Now the Awakening Stone that I recommend for this will be damage, because honestly it's a one used move, so you might as well get the best damage, as much damage as possible that you can get with this move. Okay people, quick end slate here. I'm gonna keep this short because I'm doing something at the moment, and yeah, so people are gonna ask what artifact you should get. The artifact that you should get is a cat statue, but you can get a paw. It depends on what you want to do. A lot of her moves require SP when it comes to using your SP to get like stacks back and stamina back and vice versa, and etc and etc. But you can also go with a paw if you want. It all depends on what you want to do at the end of the day. Now at the end here, I gotta say this about the Herc Tide guy. That is getting pushed back. This guy took a very long time to do, about like 2 weeks to be able to do all of these, plus I got sick and I was working on this when I was sick, so of course because of that the guide got pushed back a whole lot longer than it should have. So right now at the moment I'm going to take a break from uploading for a bit. When it comes to after this goes up, I'm going to take a break. I'll start recording videos on Vindictus, and then after that we will make the Tide guide, and then after that we'll have to wait about like almost 2 or 3 months, and then Lynn's secondary weapon comes out, and then of course I'm gonna have to do the same thing like I just did. So it's a long tedious process, but like I do it for y'all on the channel. A lot of y'all enjoy it and it's good. I enjoy doing it, so I say might as well. So that's about it. There's really nothing else I want to put at the end here. I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope it helped you out to become a better Miri, or just the best Miri that you can possibly be. And that's about it people. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this, and I will see you in my next video guys. Peace.